Okay, good to go.
We're going to call the meeting to order, the August 15th meeting, 2024, the City of Bisbee Planning and Zoning Commission. Commission, I'll call to order. Mike Ablin is absent, David Brown is absent, David Cobb
Present.
here, Douglas Dunn here, Alicia Spirity is on the phone, Sandy Hoosman here. Doug Taylor is absent, and Mel Sort, who council liaison, is present, along with Emmanuel Stewart, staff liaison.
Yep.
We have nobody to call on for any comments from the audience, so I'll turn it over to agenda 1 with the outreach stakeholders and general plan.
Good deal. Okay, hi everybody. Good to see you all again after a chunk of time after not seeing you. Can you hear me okay, Alicia?
Yes.
Good, okay. So I want to talk a bit about a couple of things. First, so I went to the, actually I'll talk a little bit about some updated timelines. We're pushing everything back. So if we gave you a timeline about what's kind of happening in terms of like when things are happening, you know, things have just been kind of up in the air. It's the summertime, so I'm thinking that the answer for when it's going to be done is we're going to have it finished by October 2025. But until then, any public hearings, council meetings, all those dates probably are going to be pushed back. So I want to give you that update. But it's okay, right? We're not in a big hurry. It's Bisbee. So, okay. So other than that, I want to ask you some questions about some survey questions that we can ask community people and stakeholders. So, you know what? I did give you. Oh, you all have copies of the notes. Okay, very good. You know, there's a series of questions there, and you know, I was thinking mostly about getting information from people about how engaged they are with the city. So I'm going to be asking them a bit about sort of like what they think their challenges, the kind of biggest challenges that local government faces. I'm going to be talking a bit about and asking them a question about where they get their information about the city of Bisbee's local government, the news. You know, I'm asking them, is it going to be social media, Facebook, maybe the Bisbee, the Observer, you know, or maybe what's it called? The Bisbee Wire. So I'm asking them those questions and asking them how they think that we could improve the sort of outreach. So I'm thinking a lot about like ways that we could be more transparent with how we want to disseminate information about what the changes are in the news, in the city policies, so things like that. Kind of create more of like an open dialogue conversation, you know, so we don't have people that are just kind of maybe not, maybe feeling like we're not really paying attention to them or reaching out to them. Okay. Also, I would like to think about asking them about the biggest opportunities that our community could face in the next 10 years for the general plan. You know, and the questions about transportation and environmental sustainability, and kind of more reaching out to different communities besides, you know, just kind of all different types of communities. So these are kind of questions that I'm asking. I'm also wanting to know if there's any best practices from other communities. So I don't know, any feedback on any of those things? Is there anything else that you think that we could ask the community that would be kind of something that people were thinking about?
Well, I might comment that, share with the rest of the commission that Emmanuel was the speaker at the library here several weeks ago in terms of their Tuesday evening, and that went very well. There was certainly a good response, and we had people respond to the questions you're asking, and there was certainly a very active response.
Yeah.
And so I think that was certainly, you know, more opportunities we have to do things like that is to be encouraged.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, I did. And I'll tell you a little bit about that next, about how that went, what kind of information I got feedback-wise from that group of people. So, does anybody have any input about survey questions? Anything else?
I have a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is going to be the wording of the questions on the survey, but I think some of them are just so vague that I don't know, I don't even know how I would answer some of them
Okay.
without really giving you meaty information that you could use.
Okay. Good to know.
And just an example, where's the environment one?
Oh, yes, okay. The one that says,
How can the general plan better address environmental sustainability?
yes, okay.
I've got something like, what environmental issues do you think need the most attention? And
Yes.
how can the general plan address them?
Oh, so reword it like that.
Just kind of rewording, so, another one would be, you talk about, what do you think about property taxes?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna say they're too high.
Okay.
Everybody.
Can you, the background of that question?
And then the other question relating to that is, how can we improve the efficiency of city services?
Yeah.
If we kind of put in there something like, in relation to property taxes, how satisfied are you with the overall quality of city services?
Got it.
And then how can we improve the efficiency of our city services? Something that actually gives you answers
Yes.
instead of just vague ideas.
All right, let me write that down real quick here.
So I think we need to, I think in writing the questions, you need to think about what answers are going to come back to you, and what do we want to get out of that question?
Yeah.
That's the main thing. What do we want to get out of that question?
Yeah.
And then rephrase it in a way that pulls that information in.
Got it.
The other thing, what Sandy just said, not just what we try to get out of the question, what will be the final output? Are we looking at a plan to present to I mean, there's so many questions, and what there should be a goal. I don't know how many goals we have here, maybe a definite. I think that's what Sandy, we were trying to.
Yeah.
So if you can, I think if you can tell us, or if we can come up with the panel here saying, what is the goal of this? What will be, because most people like to see immediate benefit, not just vague questions and answers. If you can say, well, the eventual goal is to be able to do this 1, 2, 3, I think then you'll be able to derive the questions too, so you can look at the goals. But if we're just asking questions and ideas, there's so many. And maybe, for me too, to be honest with you, maybe I have missed this. What is the goal of this event? What is it going to come up with something that's going to be presented, and based on it, we're going to have a plan? I mean, if you, I may have been out of the loop on this.
Yeah.
So I can be helpful if.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying. It makes sense. I'm thinking about it. I mean, I kind of put these together as a vague question, mainly for the purpose of you all sort of being like, because you have this, you know how the community works, and so you can really give your input and guide these questions from these kind of vague, miasmic things to something that's more directed towards community with an outcome. That would, So it's good. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I mean, if that, then we can start coming to some kind of understanding, and something concrete can come out of this rather than just, this will be if we're going to rephrase it and readdress it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a million things.
No.
We're not doing a million things, but if we can come up with 1 or 2 tangible that we can deal with, I think.
Okay.
I think that would be helpful. Maybe you have a different.
No, it's good.
Thoughts,
No, it's good. That's good. That's a good point. It's good. Okay, that's good feedback.
I went online and looked at a bunch of surveys that other cities and towns have done.
Yeah.
And so many of them are multiple choice, others are just open-end like this. But one question that somebody asked really, I thought it's a simple question, but it's really important because it tells us what people value when they, and the question was, thinking of your original decision to move to Bisbee, what was the most important factor to influence your decision to come here? And why do people come here? Why do they move here? Do they move here because it's small, or because it's historical, or because of the art community, or that kind of tells us, it tells us what brought people here and what they value.
Yeah.
That's a
Just,
good one.
just something.
That's really,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. Okay, that's a good question too. I'll put that in something along those lines in there, because
And maybe there's a bigger picture that I'm not aware of, but maybe some context to the whole survey and where it's going to. If we're asking people to spend time to fill it out, they
Yeah.
might be entitled to know what we're going to do with the results of their time.
well,
And along with that, maybe some cohesiveness to the questions. We have quite a few questions here. If we put them in some kind of order, maybe like some that are yes or no, or multiple choice, and other that are essay, or along the lines of topic. To kind of create a kind of a flow.
yeah, we'll do that. We're going to build it.
And recall that we wanted to create a dialogue with the community. This could be one of the steps, if not the first steps. You already had the first step at your meeting, but this kind of thing, if the results were published in some context or made public in some context. And then the next step would be wherever that would go.
Okay, maybe public. Yeah, we could do. We could put a, we can do a thing where you can have those survey results and publish a post. What you said. So, which like a post. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. We're going to be putting in the context of the general plan update. What you're valuing. And I'm not going to use all these questions. These are all just kind of, some thoughts to think about. Based on your feedback. So.
I'm assuming we'll have some general questions about, where you see us in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then other specific, like, what does the community need to do to solve the housing problem, or whatever. I mean, maybe transportation, housing, environment, if we have some categories under the general, too. I don't know how specific you want to get with this, but.
We can get specific,
I mean, like one of the biggest issues, that especially in Old Disney, that people, I think, parking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's intangible. I mean, what can we do? What will the plan to alleviate that? I mean, it has something that it does affect people, like, based on my experience, it does not immediately affects me, because everybody has a thought about everything.
Oh, absolutely.
But it has to, but it has to be tangible, where they can say, "Wow, this is the biggest issue." Like I see it, like my little store. Oh, we can come down here. We can pick up the mail because of parking. So that's an issue. Then how do we address it? Is it addressable? Is it doable? Is there something we can do about it? What do we need to do about it? We may not, but at least we address that and see where we can go from here.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is good that we're starting the dialogue. So this is good that give us an idea and then I think we need to zoom on what affects our life indeed.
Yeah. No.
The everyday situation. And Sandy, the question she asked, why they're moving here?
Yeah, that's
because
a good
some
question.
people move here and they try to change it to the way it was back. I see that all the time. They left their home and they try to make this similar to what they left, and we see that. I mean, people in Warren, they moved from California and they want to change it to the way it was back home. So why did you come here in the first place? I mean, those are good, legitimate questions, actually.
Because I could buy a house really cheap and then turn it to an Airbnb.
It's that's happening.
No, but I think that those are good questions. And the parking question is something we're going to be talking about in a future planning meeting. So I'm putting together some stuff. Okay. Any other comments on these questions?
might also comment that Alicia and I attended the mayor's debate, and she stood up and indicated we were updating the comprehensive plan. I believe her question was something like, what do you feel are the 3 biggest issues facing Bisbee? She asked each of the 3 mayor candidates, and I thought that was an effective way of you know, forcing people to kind of focus.
Mm-hmm. You brought that up, Alicia?
Alicia did, yeah, she's
Still there? Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Can you hear us okay?
she can correct me on what she said.
That's a deep dive into the memory banks from too many weeks ago. But yeah, essentially, you know, our perspective of what's important on the general plan as we're going through planning and zoning, and then the perspective of, you know, the mayor, city manager on the business side. You know, we have to align, right?
Yeah.
We can sit here and dream up what's important, what we believe is important, but if we don't have support,
Yeah.
like unified support, like it's not effective
Yeah.
problem solving.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay, got it. Okay. So from there, there is the feedback from the first community outreach. So, you know, I conducted that thing, and you two were there, and people brought up a lot about the tourism element, the art and culture element as tourism, outdoor science, nature, ecotourism, the city of Bisbee being an environmental leader. People expressed concerns about transit. They talked about the point of entry, future plans, sports and recreation plan, parks, soccer field, thing like that, and more public spaces, projects for public spaces, third spaces, more places. You know, we're thinking about trails and things where people can go to. So, anyway, that's some of the things that people brought up at that meeting several weeks ago at the library. Just wanted to give you a recap on that. So yeah, it's great. So I got a lot of good feedback. I took everybody's feedback that they wrote on their papers, and I put it in a spreadsheet so that we can, you know, show it back to the community. I should probably actually work on that. Work on maybe giving that feedback to the community and sort of getting feedback from that, you know, kind of like looping it a bit. Now that I think about it.
You know, I had the same thoughts. You might ask Jason to have a second session at the library in which you summarize the input you received
Yeah.
at the earlier meeting, and then ask for, you know, additions and further clarification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I am going to do something like that. Probably, actually, coming up, we're going to have a stakeholder meeting, and I have a list of a lot of stakeholders that we're going to be reaching out to, which I'm going to reach out to you, Mel, because we're going to be reaching out to each representative from each ward, right? Let's say some people we're going to reach out to. We're going to reach out to, the ward council members, and you all had mentioned that I should reach out to, let's see, Karen Schumacher, Gretchen Hill. Also going to be reaching out to
Gretchen who?
Gretchen Hill?
No, Juanetta.
Juanetta. Oh, I see.
Gretchen, she ran for mayor, but she didn't make it.
Oh, okay. Gretchen Hill ran for mayor but didn't make it.
Juanetta Hell.
Okay.
She's the council for San Jose.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely reach out to Juanetta. I've got her contact information, so I will be reaching out to Juanetta. Somebody did mention also Gretchen too. Also going to be reaching out to SEGO, Bisbee Science Lab, Backyard Project, Camp NACO. They're going to be one of the members, stakeholders, Freeport, the Warren Historic District. I want to get maybe some representation from Warren, and thought maybe you'd be a good person to talk to about that. Or also Heather Glenn. She thinks she worked on the historic preservation element, and then Firewise and Waterwise, Busy Bloomers and Project Wildlife. Does anybody actually? I should maybe find the Busy Bloomers contact information. If anybody knows what that is.
The what?
The Bisbee Bloomers?
Kaylin.
Helen, yeah.
Yeah,
Kaylin, what's her last name?
Cummings.
Okay.
yeah.
She sits on the Parks and Recreation.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Okay. Let's see.
You know, if I may, because the thought, and I was hoping to see, the biggest, I think, and I believe that somehow we need to start talking about issue that's facing Bisbee is the declining population, declining tax-based population.
Tax-based population.
Yeah. This is the issue. This is something, you know, some people for it, some people against it. We don't want people. I mean, but still, that's something either that has to come from somewhere, from studies. I mean, it's something we want, we don't want, but this is an issue that Bisbee has to deal with if we're planning for the next years. This is a big issue.
Yeah.
We want to find out why and how do we address it. Whether
Yeah.
you're for it or against it, I'm not here to play. But it's an issue that we have to deal with. Over the few years, we can have all those plans, but if we don't have the we don't have the population, we don't have the tax-based, we will have trouble in the future.
So-
I think this has something somehow, the conversation needs to start. I'm not saying we have a solution for it,
Yeah.
but it has to be somehow discussed and talked about.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that right now we got some grant money to do a housing study, right? So, and part of our kind of the information that we're gathering is we're going to be gathering like elements on like affordable housing and population demographic changes, and so I think that will address some of the issues and kind of figure out what the trends are and where they're going, you know, because we can look at census data right now, and you can kind of see
We
that-
were down in the Senate. I mean,
Yeah.
we were down.
Yeah.
The thing over the past few years, a lot of the houses were purchased by people who did not live here.
Yeah.
Turned them into Airbnb.
yeah,
And, okay, you know, people are happy we have Airbnb, but it is something that we have to talk about. It's
Yeah.
something that you have to see.
yeah,
What do we need to do? Maybe there's nothing we can do, but it's something that has to be somehow, we cannot just, you know, glide and
Yeah.
pretend it doesn't exist. It's an issue and continue to be an issue. A lot of people who are passing or moving or getting older, we have not replaced these. I mean, it's something that has to be talked about.
yeah. I mean, well, no, you're right. I mean, you know, and I do think that like looking at sort of like jobs and economic, some type of robust economic maintenance, you know, like.
And cities do that very well. Cities do that. They look for ways, and this is something that I am for. What can we do without affecting the lifestyle? Bring in people that do buy these homes and live here. I'm not saying everybody's going to move here,
Right.
but as a city, we have not addressed it. I want to admit.
Yeah.
We just like, you know, just cover over it. You know,
Yeah.
pretend it's not there. We're all going to be there in the next 5, 6, 10 years, so it doesn't matter. It does matter.
Well, that's morbid. But
I mean,
okay.
I've overheard it. No, we're not really I'm just saying, for us, it's okay. We like it, but we have to think, we have to plan something.
Yeah.
And as a planner, that's what I would be looking at.
Yeah.
What can we do about this? So we can do the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, there's.
do a survey and put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
I would like to say to that, early on in that you mentioned Airbnbs and whatnot in relation to taxes. I would be honestly curious, and I don't have very few favorable opinions on Airbnbs, but I wonder if our tax rate, the collection of taxes, has decreased in proportion to our population, or if those Airbnbs, through the business that they generate and the taxes they collect, if that's the perspective for the city.
Yeah.
Or to at least realize that positive for what it's worth.
For now.
Because I assume there is a fair amount of taxes.
Well, yeah, and there's nothing about the Airbnb. I'm just talking in the long term. I mean, that's a good business. I'm involved in it.
Airbnbs are not good neighbors.
Yeah, but it just does good. But as official or somebody who advises in this, we need to think of. We have to give, and we have to ask the council. We have to say, what are we doing about this?
And along those lines, I think it's related. I look at the stakeholders here, and I don't see anything representing the business community of Bisbee.
So here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that, because we had this conversation earlier today about that, because I was thinking about the business, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't have, there's no business association or chamber of commerce, so I couldn't really reach out to any of those people. And if I reached out to like one particular business but not another, then I could get that. But what I decided to do was that when we have our next community outreach meeting, I'm going to specifically go to businesses in the area and invite them to come, So, we could have a business person, like a meeting, or I could reach out to them, or maybe you could be my representative.
A couple things come to mind, if I may.
Yeah.
One is, I believe that you are privy to the business license holders' names and contact information, because they're
the city
business
does. Yeah.
license holders with the city.
Yes.
Right.
It might be a larger group than you want.
Right.
And I was also going to bring up in the discussion of future topics, but I'll bring it up now because it's a current topic. There is talk now, I don't know if you're aware of it,
Yes.
of a
Setting up, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Of the business community.
Yeah,
grouping.
Fred Miller initiated that.
And it would be very nice
Yes.
if the city had a direct line
Yes.
to that type of thing.
And definitely, it's something that I was frustrated for on the city council, that the business community, when we had this fire issue, really, the business community did not have a voice. I mean,
And
the first day I said a couple of things on behalf of but there was no concrete, and I totally agree, where most of the taxes that collected are generated by these businesses, yet they don't have a voice. I think so, and just so Manuel will know, they are working on creating a group of, I don't know, they don't want to do the Chamber of Commerce. I think that was a failure at one time, but some kind of lobby group that can.
Doug would be more aware, but there were more than one. There was a Chamber of Commerce, there was an organization that was not Chamber of Commerce. This was only like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
And
I
both of
heard
those
about it.
dissolved,
Yeah.
And it did come home when the fire happened. It's like we have no representation.
No representation.
Besides
It
our
was so
individual
true. I know,
voices.
and the businesses were frustrated, and they would come down to me. A simple question, the street, what are you going to do? When that's going to open? Literally, people were frustrated. And definitely, they are working on this group. We'll have to go back, and I think, let's see, because I don't know Kelly and everybody, Kelly and Karen and stuff. So definitely, we need it. Maybe Doug will be involved in that, since he sells stuff.
Yeah. We'll tell you what, if you could put together even an ad hoc
This was
committee
the idea, yeah.
and sort of get everybody and kind of just get those information from the business people, that would really help immensely, just for you and me, So
If it doesn't come together in time, we could always get a representative group of
Yeah.
real estate, of hospitality, of
That's
art,
mhm.
businesses.
Well, they have the art commission, I think they have.
Yeah,
a group, so,
and I'm reaching out to
Oh,
them.
the arts and humanities,
Yeah.
are they included?
Yep.
Is it, they are there here?
The Arts Commission, yes. I'm reaching out to all the committees and commissions and boards, you know, we're looking at Parks and Rec, police, fire, transit, youth council, site planning, disability issues, library, parks and Rec. You know, and then, so,
What about the school district?
I was just gonna comment, had clipped an article out of, a past article out of the Herald Review, we have a new superintendent here.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember his name, but anyway, I would strongly suggest that you actually sit down with him personally
yeah,
and see what he suggests. And
Okay.
certainly that article indicated there are, certainly our scores are not particularly good.
yeah, okay.
Both in
That's
English
a good one, yeah.
and in math. And he identified what he saw, some of the issues.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I should have brought that article. I saved it for my wife, and I just now read it before I came here, and I should have brought it to share with you. I can't remember his name. Anyway, we do have a new superintendent.
And it's so true, Doug, because that's one of the biggest issues. Like, I look at my kids who have kids. The reason they're not staying here because the schools. This is a major issue. The school here are contributing to that. Because, people, younger people with kids, they leave for some reasons because a lot of them now work online and everything. But the schools has always been a big issue. I'm glad Doug brought that up. It's a big issue. And yeah, definitely should read to them if you could.
Yeah. Okay, got it. I mean, because, we do want to think about, what retains people and what draws new people, what draws people, so people that want to work in a type of tourist industry, it's a big, part of what keeps us going, right? So
the topic that you were talking about before, about population decline, it is a real important, serious one, but is that something that we discuss and we work into the plan, or is that an agenda item for a future meeting? I don't know where that fits.
I mean, I think that's something we would talk about in the general plan. Like, do we want to maintain our population?
Yeah,
as it is?
how do you increase it? It has to be, because that's all correlated. It's,
Yeah.
you can.
But you have to have a reason, or like you think about the questions you wanted to ask earlier, right? What made people come here in the first place?
Yeah.
Do we want to maintain that, and then how can we maintain those elements that drew people here in the first place, but then also keep an economy going, as well as allowing building of more houses. When in Old Bisbee you have a lot of houses that have been abandoned. There's a lot of abandoned houses, and we're working on getting either empty lots that used to have a house, or a house that's about ready to go, and so if you can work on getting houses in those areas, so we can infill our our area, our town, and then so we actually have places for people to live that's affordable. I mean, I think you're thinking about affordability because people come here because it's affordable, but it's also a smaller town, so you're going to probably make less, or you're working in a tourism industry. So you have to just think about how it all works together, right? So I think it's a general plan, subject to talk about, but which makes me think a lot about when I went to the Rural Policy Forum. So last week I went to the Rural Policy Forum in Clarkdale, Cottonwood. And a lot of the issues there that they talked about was how in these rural areas, a lot of them are facing the same problems that we're facing here in Bisbee. Population decline, not a lot for kids or young families. So we're thinking about, some of the things that they outlined included developing a rural partners network, right? So we could partner with Douglas or Sierra Vista. Pushing leadership and civic collaboration, and that's something that's probably a huge undertaking. And then also thinking about, we used to be an extraction economy. We had the mine, we were getting that, but now we're kind of moving towards tourism and sustainability. but also remembering to keep our city beautiful. They talked about, beautiful cities as an enduring theme of like what really draws people and keeps people, So I think that's something worth talking about. Also remembering who we are as a community, our sort of community identity, and we talked about how that informs policy. And so, thinking about our values, our collective way of looking at things, and then also talking about risks that, with our choices, the trade-offs, if this, then that, ensuring that we can get through this and weather through that storm, right? So that's sort of what I took away from the Rural Policy Forum. So there are resources here, where I think with the state, they are launching a micro loan program for small businesses. And I do think that, very small businesses, sort of like lowering the barrier to entry might be a good thing to do in terms of growing the economy. Maybe even like things like somebody did mention, like food trucks down in Bakerville, like a lot where people can have food trucks and like have like, evening events or something, right? So we're thinking about creative ways to draw people here and to creative ways for people to make money. And also we're using since we don't have like this huge employer, we have to think about all those small ways that we can build it and then expand upon it over time, right? So, any thoughts on that? Hope I didn't bore you with me. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe this is out of context, but Heather with the tourism, should she not have some input in this as well too? And
Well, we're going to ask.
maybe
them.
some vice versa too. And then
Yes.
some
No.
of these things that you're talking about,
Yeah.
it seems that might fall under her, even though it doesn't right now, might
Yeah.
fall under her
Yeah.
realm and budget
Yeah. Yeah. We're
kind of
definitely
thing.
reaching out. It's interesting because I get so much information from so many different angles. From you all and then people in the city, and then I go to these events and these forums, and it's trying to take it all and be like, what do you think? Spaghetti against the wall? That's my favorite metaphor for this. So, no, you're right. I mean, tourism. I heard there was a pirate weekend. Did anyone go to that recently? No, I didn't go either. But maybe I should have.
What do you mean? Did anybody go to that? It's a city affair. They had some events at the park. They had a parade. Yeah, they had some people. I don't know, what did you think of it?
As far as I'm concerned, in the Business on Main Street, it's one of the few weekend events, one of the festivals that actually immediately increases business. I always figured that the other ones that don't, because they're off doing whatever the festival involves, whatever their schedule is.
Right.
Like the Blues Festival and the Mariachi Festival, they would do nothing for Main Street.
Yeah.
Not for Main Street.
But more power to them.
Yeah.
But because of this one happens in August, and August is dead, so it's really nice that those people made the effort to put a festival
did.
together
You did a
in
good job.
August. And
Yeah.
I was, and they were nice people too, and it's
Yes.
better this year than it
Yes.
was last year, and I think they're doing a really good job
Yes,
with that kind of thing.
totally.
So.
Yeah.
People do seem to enjoy dressing up in business on any theme,
Yeah.
And only part that I participated in happened to be the swimming pool, when they had the mermaids.
All right.
As part of,
Oh.
so anyway, it was quite fascinating.
Oh, were you a mermaid too?
No, but I certainly,
okay. I said you put.
there are people who, I was fascinated, who have fins that put on over their swimming.
Let me tell you, they did a good job. But they have supposedly not one of the biggest big events we consider that. I think they did a pretty good job, and they did some.
I'd like to have, if we're going to have festivals, I'd like to have them all in August, please.
Yeah, because July and August we get killed. Yeah.
Or Main Street business. Well, I'll tell you what kind of other festival would work in August in Bisbee? We got a pirate festival. It's the hottest time of year, or is it? It's a hot time of year, I guess I should say. So you're gonna wear a swashbuckling outfit. You're gonna drink a lot of rum or whatever, and you know, until the heat.
It is the hottest time of year, that's inarguable, it's especially hot to us, but if you're
Yeah.
coming from Phoenix or you're coming from Tucson,
Yeah.
it's a break from the heat.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what the tourist board could promote, but that's a topic for another day.
Okay.
You know, not billboards in Canada in March.
Billboards in Canada in March. Come enjoy a pirate festival in the hot summer sun in Arizona. Yeah, it's true. You know, you could really. I mean, Tucson. So I mean, if you know, it's significantly cooler here, and so it's a place that you can drive to in 2 hours and have some relief from the summer heat. You know, it's warm. It's hot for us, but they're like, oh, it's so refreshing. You know, whatever.
Yeah,
So.
it's true.
So, okay, next is some questions that I think, and I just want to throw out some stakeholders that you mentioned, one of the things is actually a question, so or maybe something to bring up when I talk with Freeport.
Oh, yeah.
With something, you know, I have some stuff. So you know, if you don't, you know, if you can think of a thing or two, that's fine. But if not, I also have a list of questions that we've kind of put together. But if not, you know,
Have they replaced Robert Quintanar?
Do what?
Have they replaced Robert Quintanar in terms of the manager for Freeport?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Unfortunately, he left the community without really having a farewell
Yeah,
party. I don't know what.
yeah. But that's a good, yeah, I don't know if they have, to be honest with you.
okay. How about if I were to talk to local businesses, what would I ask? What would I ask them? What would be some questions, or something, some topics to bring up for local businesses? If I were to do a kind of like a survey to them specifically, or get them on a call, or if I sent them an email.
Questions to, I don't understand.
So like if I were to sort of like bring up, you know, if I were going to be like local businesses on Main Street or anywhere, I'm working on the general plan update, and I really want to get your feedback on what you feel like is important, you know, to your businesses, and as far as like a city goals or our policy. Do you know, what would something that you bring up? You know, I mean, besides like more festivals in August, or, you know, something like that. So, I mean, you can always email me too later if you want to think about something. You know, Mel, you know, small businesses. Okay.
So is there anything the city could do to help them improve business? I mean,
How about the
I don't
business?
know.
You're talking about the business,
Mhm.
business community, you mean?
Yeah.
Why- Is there anything the city can do?
Well, if I was going to reach out to them, what would I want to talk to them about? I want to be like,
Well,
all right,
I
just
mean,
tell me anything you
the
want.
city, you're gonna, I mean, you will hear it from everyone, and some of them have expressed it to the, for example, and you have the thing about Bisbee, you have two type of businesses, okay? You have businesses, and you have businesses associated with art and events. And I mean, and you have contradiction. We want the tourists, yet we complain about the tourists when we come in.
The businesses
And
do.
we have to know, without the tourists, we cannot do business. So this is always, if sometimes the city goes full force, you will have people complaining, why are we bringing so much more people into. I think what David had just said with the tourism director, Heather, we just need to make sure when we're focusing on bringing people, we're just focusing on the right mix of potential visitors.
Okay.
And what the city can go with, because the city does have, we get finances, we get the bed tax that it's supposed to go to tourism, and we have money. It's just probably spending it in the right way to bring enough foot traffic into the town. So it's never one way. There's not one thing the city can do, but the city can make sure the money spent properly on bringing in the right but the city, the business people, and David is a businessman here, he knows, he's been around, they need to create a voice, they need to have some influence. The city, for example, was a bit slow going on trying to finish on Main Street until, some people raised their voices.
I've been on the board here for a couple of years, I think. I'm not keeping track. I brought a couple things forward that were Main Street relevant. One was a crosswalk.
Yep.
Replacing a crosswalk, simply replacing a crosswalk that used to be there before the streets were paved. That was a no-go.
Yeah, what was the opposition?
Why was that no?
He couldn't put it where it was because there were parking places involved, and then I think it could have been done, but he was not interested in doing it that way. The other way was to put slanted crosswalks further down on Main Street that would eliminate parking spaces.
Yeah, we
just kind of left that in the air, and I'm not going to push it to do something to eliminate parking spaces. I don't know that it's worth it, but we do continue to have people jaywalking all up and down what's considered Upper Main Street.
Yeah,
I had an issue with 88 Main Street, the boarded up building.
Yeah.
We sent them letters, they came back, that's all we can do. So we've got
Yeah, you're talking
abandoned
about the
buildings
boarded
on Main
buildings.
Street, let alone empty buildings that are for rent.
Well,
or sale.
that should be readdressed. I agree with you, because we did. I guess I remember we talked about it. Did not come in front of. I mean, they were supposed to have sent them letters. They were supposed to have. But you know what? That's a good. Where do we stand on this? We send them letter and it goes in the meeting and then.
So
And I said that's all we can do.
Which-
That's a little hard to accept.
which property is this?
88 Main Street,
Oh,
his
88,
name was
okay.
David Cook, he's passed away, it's in there, it's in his estate.
So
We spent several meetings talking about parking,
Yeah.
about the best way to utilize the parking lot on Main Street.
yeah.
Marking handicap parking, marking loading zones that again had been marked before the streets were paved, and I've seen nothing done.
So the challenge with that right now is that we reached out to our engineer for the crosswalks. And our engineer, I don't know, they were out of town for like 3 months. And then I probably should send them an email again, because I reached out to them, like, oh, I can help you when I get back in 3 months. It's hard sometimes to pin people down. And as far as 88 Main Street goes, we're working on some ordinances right now to potentially get that, to kind of push people's hand a little bit in terms of addressing their vacant and abandoned properties. One of the problems is that everything moves very slowly. And when you're trying to work with other people outside of the organization, outside of the city, I guess I should say, it's really hard to get those people to get back to you. And so you have to do a lot of study and research, and then trying to find the right people, and then trying to poke them and get them to respond to you. And so a lot of times it's just been challenging the way that things have been moving slowly, because you want to get things done as well. And Matt and I talked about the crosswalks for quite some time, and and it's a drag to kind of have to work and spend a lot of time on something and go out there and put a lot of energy into it, and then you're not able to address it yet because the people that you need to actually make that happen are not getting back to you as well, right? So we are working on it, and the crosswalks.
Are there other engineers available?
Yeah, I need to just talk to them.
If we organize a business association and we put together, the group puts together needs that they feel need to be presented to the city, and they're presented to the city and they get this kind of feedback, it's going to be an exercise in frustration all the way around.
Yeah. I mean, I will.
But David brings up a good point about the abandoned. I remember we talked about it, and then we sent letters. But you're right. I mean, what happened? Why
So if we were
Exactly.
asking for this, for the community's
And yet
input for a
simple,
city
yeah.
plan, and
Yeah.
we're not going, we might listen to them,
Yeah.
but all we have as far as getting things done is reasons why we can't, then what's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, I think it's also worth putting it out there anyway. And you know, you do have to mention it again because we have so many things that are happening, right? And so and so part of it is if you did have a business association, you could be like, this is still on our list of things that we want to address, right? So I think it's always going to be a conversation and a negotiation, unfortunately, and we're trying to do it, you know, but things do move slow because we have so many different moving parts and also trying to get people to. At the same time, you know, I'm working on a grant for getting some kind of Main Street, some spots, you know, and getting some crosswalks. So we are working on it. It's not like we've totally forgotten about it because we are, but it's just getting really getting.
It's
all
just the
things
idea
together.
of eliminating parking spots.
Yeah,
In order to make crosswalks, it doesn't.
yeah. How do you feel about parking spots? What would happen? How would you feel if we did eliminate a parking spot?
I'm sorry.
How would you feel if we did eliminate a parking spot? Or
That's
two?
what I'm saying. I don't think it's worth eliminating one parking spot for a crosswalk. That's just me personally.
Okay.
I think every parking space is valuable.
We need it, you know, there's
But-
no question.
And so that's part of, I think, could be also potentially slowing things up, right? So, but at the same time, though, I want to say though, you know, so there's a lot of no parking signs in Old Bisbee, and they're not legitimate no parking signs, right? So we're getting rid of a lot of those
I
signs.
think you guys did a good job on those illusions.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing like by the hotel.
Well, it's funny, more than a few of them are on Commerce Street too, so that took care of it.
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah, Commerce Street. But yeah, that was good because I noticed a lot of these parking spots that were created by individual, illegal ones, have been gone. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that frees
saw
up
that.
parking.
On Main Street, I saw that. That was good. I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
So I guess we did. You guys did something in this community.
It's worth it. So yeah, that's it. You know, to eliminate parking spots. Yeah, that's a part of the challenge. I think is the not eliminating parking spots. So that being said, we can reach out to the engineer again and see if we actually can readdress those issues and at least find some crosswalks and potentially work on some other stuff for Main Street. So, and also the vacant and abandoned properties that we're working on some ordinances and changing them so that we actually can get some teeth in our ordinance to actually go after those people and be like, here's the deal. This, you know, we want to help you either like make this property a viable property or keep it so that it doesn't, you know, what they call it demolition by neglect. That's a big thing, right? So, you know, we don't want to see another property on Main Street fall and becoming a big gap, like, you know. So we're working on that, you know.
Well, they're gonna have a new property on Main Street.
A new
They
property.
the burned building. That's gonna be ours. It's gonna be the city.
Yep.
Maybe you make some parking over there. That's something we have to.
Well, yeah, they could just
We
do
took
that.
it. Yeah, that's ours.
Yeah.
You could just knock down some more buildings and get some more parking spaces. Just being facetious. Okay.
That's gonna come up one day, so you guys be ready to discuss that. Because once that's clean, we have to make a decision on it.
Yeah.
How does that process work?
Well, we own it now,
Right.
so it would be decided, would be a recommendation. Probably some of you probably will have some recommendation on this
Who makes
committee.
those decisions?
Who
makes those
The
decisions?
council, it comes upon the city manager and, and he presents it to the council decide what to do with it.
Are we involved at all?
You'll probably be involved, probably the council will be asking for some
And there's
recommendations.
a lot of decisions to be
Yeah.
made.
Oh,
there,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's gonna be a little while, but it's eventually, I think maybe parking. I don't know how big that is.
I don't know. Parking?
or building, but then we have to build it, it's gonna cost us some money, so.
Yeah, are there plans to budget it yet?
It's now.
Got a grant for that one, maybe?
Well, you know what? There's
Oh, we will
always
sell it,
something.
but I don't think it would be a good idea.
I mean, there
But we
are,
own it now, it's ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ours.
there is brownfield money for brownfield remediation in Cochise County, right? So you could get a grant to remove asbestos, lead paint, stuff like that in these old buildings, and then kind of, you know, you get, when you do redevelop a building, you know, you have to do an environmental study, make sure that it's not going to be toxic, or whatever, right? So, anyway, that's something worth.
Yeah, that's down the road.
That's all. Down there, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you know, things are on the up and up. I know things move really slow, and it can be frustrating for people, but you know, it's just the nature of the beast right now. All right. So that being said, I think I've got everybody's information. Anything that you want to add, Alicia?
She fell asleep, huh?
The Commerce Sky Island is now expanded. It's no longer the Sierra Vista Chamber of Commerce. It's covering all of Cochise County, so I know we don't have our own Bisbee Chambers of Commerce, but Sky Island, maybe. I don't know how many folks from our Bisbee are engaging in their, you know, countywide Chamber of Commerce.
That's interesting.
But, you know, we're small, but as a Cochise County, we're big.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, very much. Okay, great. I'll look into the Sky Island Chamber of Commerce. Maybe we can get a person who could represent Bisbee in the Sky Island Chamber of Commerce. And then they could come back to us. Or you can have a person that's like, everybody can go and share their feedback to that one person, and then that person can come talk to me. David. Okay, it's not.
My experience with the Chamber of Commerce that it's tends to get highly politicized, and I can only imagine in Cochise County that it already is highly politicized, and I'm afraid it's with a party that I'm not affiliated with.
Oh, national politics.
I'm
Okay.
just assuming.
Yeah. Well, you could just do it for Bisbee, and just have people talk to you from.
Infiltrate the enemy lines, and then you know what's going on.
No, just forget them altogether. Just all the people from Bisbee can talk to you, or maybe they come talk to you, Mel. I don't know.
No, sometimes.
All right, well, when I went down there one day on Main Street, and talked to business owners, and you know, I got a mixed bag of opinions about the city. So
Everybody has an opinion, and everybody has an opinion about everything.
yeah,
So
that's true. I just, you know, as long as people can share their concerns in a way that is, you know, in a way that
I think
helps
the idea of
them.
setting up the group, the business group, it has to be. I mean, I don't know if we can do it. I think that's the biggest issue because of experiences. I wasn't involved in the past. Like you said, the politics gets involved and the grouping for and against.
Yeah.
I think like build consensus on the major stuff, and it's gonna be maybe virtual type of, you know, where they can have the power or the say on a certain thing, and then have someone bring it in front of the council.
I think what we have going for us is we have 2 or 3 or 4 very experienced and intelligent women who are putting this together. And,
Yes.
And they are doing their best to try and avoid these pitfalls.
Yeah, I think so, and that's why
So they're
I've talked
listening
with
to-
them. Yeah.
They're-
And they're trying to do that because they don't want to fall into what has
Yeah,
happened in the past.
they don't have
Yeah.
time to waste time.
Yeah, they're serious and they know what they want to do. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I'm gonna tomorrow, if I have a time, I'm gonna follow up and see where they're at. I know I've talked to them before, but say, let's just move it now, you know, move on.
okay.
And maybe we can give you the name of one of them and she can talk to you.
Yeah. Who are these people?
Karen,
There's
Schumacher
Karen,
is a future city commissioner.
there's Kelly,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Sarah's involved.
Sarah's involved. I think Kathy Snowden is involved.
Kathy Sowden, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. She's involved. She's involved.
Well, I'll
Somehow.
probably talk to them.
Yeah.
Kelly runs the shelter. Sarah has Vision Pickens, her parents own the Pythian Castle. She has the aerial school in the Gulch. She owns the building that's in next to St. Elmo's.
Oh, okay.
Karen's Karen. Karen.
Yeah.
Runs the hat shop.
Hat shop.
Karen runs the hat shop.
Yeah.
Haberdasher.
Well, Sarah was also the one that coordinated the Pirates Weekend, right?
Oh, Sarah.
And I think she was quite successful at that.
She was.
I
She
would
was.
certainly say that's the person you want to talk to.
Doesn't make a
yes.
penny out of it.
Right.
Everything goes to charity.
Let me tell you, she did a wonderful job. For small, unlike the other events, she did an amazing job. And like you said,
She's a
we ended up with a decent weekend for August because of that.
and really good publicity, I think, for Bisbee, because they
Yes.
were all good people, weren't they?
Yes, yes.
Great.
And we had a lot of people dressed up, and it was fun, really. And I told that to Sarah. I said, you did an amazing job.
Awesome.
So there.
Okay. Good, good. Well, we'll just keep on talking about it. Keep in touch. All right.
Are we ready to adjourn?
Hey,
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Go on.
I have a commissioner comment.
Okay.
I think it might be about time, and I don't expect any response.
Gotcha.
I think it might be about time to address absences of one or two commissioners who are almost never here.
Yeah,
I spoke to the mayor.
yeah. And I concur with that. I also mentioned.
I don't know why action has not been taken.
I think they've been very busy because of the election, but so maybe now he will have the time to, yeah.
I just think it would really help our group to have more input
I also mentioned it
than
to
just us.
Maybe in line with that, we have two candidates who aren't going to be mayor, and they both seem to be very, very interested in working with the city, but don't seem to have any city experience. Is there perhaps this an opportunity to reach out, in all seriousness, without being sarcastic, to reach out to them and say, hey, please consider joining our board and helping us with some of the goals that you expressed as a mayoral candidate?
First, we need to see if these people are going to start participating again, or
Do we have a limit to how many members we can have on the board with the ones that aren't attending? We do?
I think we do.
Yeah. We do. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It seems to have
It's a
grown and
seven,
shrunk
I
over the
think
time
it's a
I've been here.
Right.
seven-member commission.
7
Okay.
notification. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
On this topic, as I'm calling in right now from Wisconsin,
You're good, you're good.
Yeah.
if we had the option with, 2024 technology, Zoom, right? We did this during COVID. I know board members, a lot of folks in Bisbee travel in and out. If we can make it more convenient to be able to attend and participate, perhaps we would have a more consistent, better turnout amongst all members.
Seems like an excellent idea.
And I know we have the new city hall going up, and I know there's a room in there, right, that's going to be able to facilitate, hopefully, 2024 technology communication methods.
Yes, yes.
Maybe we could put this on as an agenda if we're going to discuss it.
Okay.
Yes, that would be great. Not just our board, all of our boards, right? I know a lot of the
That's a
commissions,
good point.
some of them have vacancies, they can't even go forum to meet.
Yeah.
We're fortunate that we have a pretty good turnout, or we have enough people that turn out that we can have a quorum.
So I think that when the new city hall is finished, I expect that we're going to have very good quality 2024 technology, 2025 technology with a lot of great, cameras and microphones. And so I think that is completely and totally a doable thing when that happens. Right now, it's been a tough one a bit because we tried using this other camera over here and live stream it, or we were going to try to live stream it over Zoom, but we were having issues with the sound. Yeah, we're so close to that new city hall that maybe that's something we could talk about once that's finished. Because then we can actually have something that's streamlined, and people who are on Zoom will be like, I can't hear, So that's my 2 cents.
Ready to adjourn?
She said she didn't expect any comments, so that's good. That's what we can comment.